If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the podcast. The discovery of the Somerton Man. The morning sun cast long shadows across Somerton Beach when John Lyons started his usual walk. The date was December 1st, 1948. The ocean breeze carried the salt smell of the sea as waves crashed against the shore. Nothing seemed unusual at first. Then Lyons saw him. A man lay against the seawall, perfectly still. His legs stretched out toward the water. His head rested against the concrete, like he had simply decided to take a nap. But something felt wrong, very wrong. Lyons called to two other men nearby. They rushed over to help. The stranger wore a dark suit that looked expensive. His shoes were polished and clean. Not a single hair was out of place. He looked like he was dressed for an important meeting, not a beach visit. They tried to wake him. He would not respond. They felt for a pulse. Nothing. The man was dead. Police arrived within the hour. They searched his pockets for clues about who he was. They found nothing. No wallet, no identification, no money, not even a scrap of paper with his name. It was as if this person had appeared from thin air. The body showed no signs of violence. No cuts or bruises marked his skin. His clothes were not torn or dirty. Everything about his appearance suggested he had died peacefully. But how and why here? Witnesses came forward with strange stories. A couple had seen a man sitting in the exact same spot the evening before. He had been staring out at the ocean, completely motionless. They remembered thinking it was odd behavior for such a cold night. The police called in medical experts. They performed tests and examinations. They looked for poison in his blood. They checked his organs for disease. Every test came back with the same result. They could find no cause of death. Days turned into weeks. No one came looking for the mystery man. No missing person reports matched his description. It was as if he had no family, no friends, no life before that morning on the beach. The newspapers began calling him the Somerton Man. His story spread across Australia. People wondered who he was and where he came from. Some guessed he was a spy. Others thought he might be a criminal on the run. But the truth remained hidden. The man had taken his secrets with him to the grave. All that remained were questions that seemed to have no answers. The case would soon become one of the most puzzling mysteries in criminal history. The Tamam Shud slip and the rare book. Something extraordinary happened months later. A detective searching the man's clothing found something they had missed before. Hidden deep inside a tiny fob pocket in his trousers lay a small piece of paper. The paper was no bigger than a postage stamp. On it were two words written in an elegant script: Tamam Shud. These Persian words meant "it is finished" in English. But finished what? And why would a man carry such a message? The paper looked torn. Someone had ripped it from something larger. But what? The detective studied the fragment under magnifying glasses. The paper seemed old and expensive. The printing looked professional, like it came from a book. Police officers began calling bookshops across Adelaide. They asked about Persian books and poems. Finally, someone remembered seeing an unusual book left in a car. A man had found it in his unlocked vehicle near Somerton Beach. He had kept it, wondering if the owner would return. The book was the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. This was no ordinary copy. It was a rare first edition worth considerable money. When detectives examined the last page, their hearts raced. A piece was missing. The torn edge matched perfectly with the paper found in the dead man's pocket. But the real discovery waited inside the back cover. Someone had written in pencil, then erased the words. The impressions remained like ghost writing pressed into the paper. Under special lighting, investigators could make out a phone number and something far more puzzling. Below the number were 5 lines of letters. They looked like code. MRGOABADNP MATP MLIABAQC ITMTSAMSTG. Each letter was carefully printed. Some letters appeared crossed out or written over. Was this a secret message? A love letter? Instructions for a spy? The phone number belonged to a young nurse who lived near the beach. When police contacted her, she became nervous. She claimed not to recognize the dead man when shown his photograph. But witnesses said she looked shocked, as if she knew exactly who he was. The code itself defied every expert who examined it. Codebreakers from military intelligence studied the letters for years. Computer programs tried millions of combinations. Amateur detectives proposed hundreds of theories. Nothing worked. Was the mysterious man a spy carrying state secrets? A lover with a broken heart? Or someone else entirely, taking his secrets to the grave? The answers seemed written in a language only the dead man could speak. The mysterious code and its unsolved secrets. The paper crackled between trembling fingers. 5 rows of capital letters stared back at investigators, as silent as the dead man who carried them. This wasn't just any random scribble. Every letter had been placed with purpose, forming a message that would taunt the world's brightest minds for decades. Professional codebreakers arrived first. They brought machines, charts, and years of wartime experience. The letters refused to bend to their mathematical formulas. Computer programs hummed through the night, testing thousands of possibilities. Nothing worked. The code sat there, stubborn as stone. Intelligence agencies joined the hunt. Cold War tensions made every secret message seem dangerous. Could this dead stranger have been a spy? The timing felt too perfect to ignore. Soviet agents moved through shadows in those days, carrying secrets that could change the world. Perhaps this man had been one of them. Experts studied the letter patterns like archaeologists examining ancient symbols. Some saw Russian influences. Others detected traces of military codes. A few noticed something stranger. The letters seemed too perfect, too carefully arranged to be random thoughts. Someone had spent time crafting this message. Amateur sleuths discovered the case years later. They formed online groups sharing theories across continents. Retired teachers, curious students, and puzzle lovers all took their turns. They tried everything from Bible verses to poetry references. The code remained silent. One theory emerged that chilled investigators to the bone. What if these weren't letters at all? What if they were initials? Names of people, places, or operations that mattered to someone somewhere. The man might have been keeping track of targets, contacts, or missions. Each letter could represent a life hanging in the balance. Another possibility seemed almost romantic. Perhaps the message was personal. A love letter written in a private language only 2 people understood. The careful handwriting suggested someone who cared about being understood, at least by the right person. Years passed. Technology improved. New methods emerged for breaking ancient codes. The Somerton message absorbed every attempt like quicksand, giving nothing back. Even artificial intelligence programs that could read forgotten languages stumbled against these 50 letters. The strangest part wasn't that the code resisted breaking. The strangest part was how it seemed to watch back. Every cryptographer who spent months studying those letters came away changed. They spoke of feeling observed, as if the dead man's secrets were studying them in return. Today, the message waits in archives, as mysterious as the morning it was found. Somewhere in those capital letters lies a truth that someone desperately wanted to preserve, or perhaps to hide forever. Connections, suspects, and hidden lives. The phone number hidden in that small book led police to a woman named Jessica Thompson. She lived just a short walk from where the body was found. When detectives knocked on her door, everything changed. Jessica stood in her doorway and looked at the photographs. The dead man's face stared back from the pictures. Her reaction was strange, very strange. She turned pale and seemed ready to faint. But when police asked if she knew him, she shook her head. No, she said, she had never seen this man before. The officers didn't believe her. Her body language told a different story. Her hands shook, her voice trembled. Why would a stranger's photo affect her so deeply? Jessica had secrets of her own. She worked as a nurse during the war. She knew about poisons and how they worked. She understood which ones could kill without leaving traces. The timing felt important. This was 1948. The Cold War was beginning. Spies moved through cities like shadows. The dead man himself raised more questions. Someone had cut every single label from his clothes. His fingerprints matched no records anywhere. He carried no wallet, no identification, nothing with his name. This level of careful preparation suggested training, professional training. Experts studied his body for clues about how he died. They found no obvious cause, no bullet wounds, no knife marks, no signs of violence. Yet a healthy man in his 40s doesn't just die on a beach. Something killed him. But what? The poison theory grew stronger. Certain substances could stop a heart and then vanish from the blood. Only the most skilled chemists knew these secrets. Only certain government agencies had access to such weapons. Jessica's behavior haunted investigators. She knew something. Her refusal to help made no sense unless she feared for her safety. Or unless she was protecting someone else's secrets. The world was changing in 1948. Old alliances were breaking. New enemies were emerging. Information was power. Lives were currency. Men and women trained in secret places learned to blend into crowds and disappear when their work was done. Was the Somerton Man one of these shadow people? Did Jessica know his real identity? Was she part of whatever mission brought him to that beach? The questions multiplied like reflections in broken mirrors. Each answer revealed 3 new mysteries. Personal secrets twisted together with international intrigue. Love affairs mixed with deadly politics. The truth seemed to dance just beyond reach, hidden behind Jessica's frightened eyes and the dead man's silent lips. Modern investigations and unresolved questions. Scientists had new tools. After 7 decades, they could do things that seemed impossible in 1948. They could read stories written in hair strands and bones. They could trace family lines back through time using nothing but tiny pieces of genetic code. The Somerton Man waited. His body held secrets that modern machines might finally decode. In 2022, researchers made a startling announcement. They had pulled DNA from hair samples saved all those years ago. The genetic markers told them a name: Carl Webb. Charles Webb, an electrical engineer born in 1905. A man who worked with instruments and wires. The news spread like wildfire. After 74 years, did they finally know who he was? But something felt incomplete. The official investigators stayed quiet. They would not confirm what the researchers claimed. The police files remained open. The case stayed unsolved. Other scientists tried different approaches. They fed the mysterious code into powerful computers. They compared the strange letters to every known cipher system. They analyzed the handwriting with new digital tools. They studied the ink and paper with machines that could see individual molecules. Nothing worked. The 5 letters still made no sense. WRGOABABD remained as puzzling as ever. The torn piece of paper gave up no new clues. The book it came from stayed silent about its connection to the dead man. Even if Carl Webb was the right name, bigger questions remained. Why did he die? What killed him on that beach? Who was the woman in his life? What did those mysterious letters mean? Modern forensic science could tell them about his last meal. It could reveal where he might have traveled based on pollen in his clothes. It could analyze every fiber and particle found with his body. But it could not explain why he was there. The case had become something strange. Technology advanced beyond anything the 1948 investigators could imagine. Yet the core mystery stayed just as puzzling. Some secrets seemed to resist even the most sophisticated tools. People still gathered online to discuss theories. New documentaries explored every angle. Families wondered if Carl Webb might be their missing relative. The questions multiplied instead of disappearing. Perhaps this is what makes certain mysteries so powerful. They adapt to each new generation. They survive every attempt to solve them. They remind us that some puzzles might be designed to stay puzzles forever.